And then I crush it, tell my girl why I'm so bold. Until she trusts it. I'm like the world inside a snow globe. Rap for the memory. Painted murals on the smoke show.
So there's a guy, tall kid, about 18, senior in high school, got this big red curly mullet. When he was in 11th grade, he wins a state championship in lacrosse, right? He shows up to his little brother's baseball games, right? His little brother plays on my kid's team, right? Now all the kids look at this kid, oh man, he's so amazing, he's so great. I kind of thought he was an idiot, but you know, it is what it is. So the kid shows up all season. He graduates to the 12th grade, my kid goes to the 6th grade, he shows up all season. My kid decides he wants to play lacrosse, so he does. He becomes pretty good at it, right? First year, starts to learn the rules, starts to put the game together, starts to enjoy the game. Well, this high school kid is the high school coach. His dad coaches, so he helps out. He knows his stuff. He's a pretty decent kid. My kid looks up to him, thinks he's the coolest thing in the world, grows a mullet, gets a perm, curls his hair, right? Now he's got this big, my kid got this big black curly afro mullet that he thinks looks like the older kid. The older kid comes and he coaches him. He starts to like my kid. He comments on my kid's mullet. Oh, that's great. Look at the flow. Keep it growing. Don't ever cut it, right? So the baseball team, when they were in the 5th grade, lost basically every game. They were atrocious. They were terrible. They were the youngest kids in the age group league that they were playing. This year, they're the older kids, right? They've had some experience. They're great. They're amazing. They're winning all these games. They're run ruling kids. They're doing a bunch of things. So meanwhile, the older kid comes and supports, and all the kids are doing better, and he's commenting. Well, you have to realize the value of heroes in a child's life. He hero worships this older kid. He thinks he's the coolest thing walking. He wants to be just like him, what he knows of this kid. And I think that my initial read of the kid, whether it was right or wrong, is irrelevant. What do we do as parents when our children find heroes, right? Because what happens is they don't want to hero worship us. They don't want to think, oh, my dad's the greatest guy in the world, right? My guy is wonderful. He can build things. He has the money. He does everything for me. Eventually, our kids get out into the world and they find other heroes. And our initial response is, well, what about me? Why wouldn't it be our initial response? I've nurtured this kid, paid for this kid, taught this kid, coached this kid. I played catch when I was tired. I took him shopping when I didn't want to. I've done everything for this kid, and now he thinks some other guy is the coolest thing walking. As well he should. It's difficult to be all things to all people. It's difficult to be someone's everything, right? And if you have 2 kids and a lady or a mother or a father, whatever, and you're all things to all these people, it's exhausting. So what do? I decided, well, I'll figure out who the kid is. Why is it that you think this kid is valuable? Why is it that he's a hero? And come to find out, he knows the sports that he's coaching. He's a basically good kid. He's a high school graduate. He's going off to college on a scholarship. He's funny. He's confident. And the younger kids want to be like him, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it takes a little bit of pressure off me. I don't have to be everything. There is somebody, and I think that a lot of dads, what we do is reject the extra hero. We reject a new person coming in to the fold of things because, like I say, it minimizes our value. When what we should be doing is figuring out, getting close to these heroes and figuring out, who are they? Are they safe? Are they appropriate? Are they good people for my kid to be hanging around with? And what I found is this kid comes from a good family. His little brother I coached in football, good kid, right? Plays baseball, plays lacrosse. He plays all these sports with my kid. They get along. There's a middle brother, good kid, right? Most of the family that I've interacted with are good people. And this kid's not falling far from the tree, right? The 18-year-old. So I was able to build a basic relationship, superficial, surface level relationship, just to be able to monitor what my kid is watching and what he aspires to be right now. He's going to have multiple heroes. He's going to have multiple people that he looks up to, that he sort of shapes his game after. There's going to be a lot of older kids and young men that show up in my kid's life to sort of guide him. And I think, like they say, it takes a village to raise a kid. There is value in that, right? And so what we have to do as fathers is sort of get behind or get beyond our own level of ego and our own level of self-importance and self-righteousness in order to invite in extra people. Come to find out, my kid loves lacrosse, right? I think what he likes is bumping into other kids and knocking the shit out of other kids. Well, whatever, that's part of the game. I don't know all the rules, so it is what it is. Good for him. But I do think that there is value in that. The kids on the baseball team started winning. They decided, all right, as this win streak increases, we're all going to bleach our hair or buzz our hair, cut our hair off. And my guy got a comment from the older kid that said, oh my God, keep the flow, keep that curly hair, keep the locks. So he didn't cut his hair. And there is some influence that we have to realize that these outside influences have, that these outside entities that aren't in your family, they have influence. Now, good thing, good kid, good hero, good influence. It could just as easily go the wrong way. It could just as easily be the kid who drinks and drives, who smokes weed, who does crack, who sells dope, whatever the case may be. That's how we get these kids in gangs. That's how we get these kids dropping out of high school. That's how we get these kids doing all sorts of wayward activities. And so it's incumbent upon us as parents to monitor who these children's heroes are. And then we have to address that, right? If they're good ones, great, we learn that. And if they're bad ones, right, you have all these people underneath your umbrella as a father. And we all say, oh, if anybody bothers my kid, it's curtains. But are you ready for that? Are you training? Are you able to deal with confrontation? Are you able to make a situation uncomfortable and awkward as you decide it's supposed to be? Are you able to make somebody who's dealing with your children uncomfortable around them if they're not supposed to be there, right? Or are you the person that likes everything nice and you will avoid confrontation at all costs? Because what that does is open up a window for somebody to just crawl right in and take your kid on whatever ride they want to. There's an interview, it's like a viral interview, you can find it, that law enforcement proffered a very active child molester. And so what they asked him was, well, what type of kids do you target, right? What type of kids do you look for? What are the characteristics of these children, right? And we can battle that, right? We can change those characteristics. We can address them. We can sort of put our kids in safe positions. And the response was, to me, astonishing. It's something that I had never thought of. He said, I never look for the child or the characteristics. I look for the parental characteristics. If that child has typically a father who's going to be a problem, I move on from that, right? If they have, a father that ignores them, if they don't have a father at all, if they have a mother that's passive or whatnot, if I feel like the risk is worth it with the parents, then I'll attack the child. It has nothing to do with the child, right? And so once we understand the value of that protection, the value of being able to stand steadfast in front of our children and everyone that's under our umbrella, we understand the relationship and the roles that we're supposed to play. And we understand that our children will venture out and they will see things that we can't monitor. So we got to teach the child, but we also have to show up. I'm at those games. I'm at those practices. So let's say, for instance, this hero guy, he was a problem. Well, you know me because I put myself in a position to be in front of this guy. And yeah, I'm funny, but I'm not really going to stand for it. It's going to be a problem for you. And so you're going to have to go a different way. Lucky for me, in our community, it's 90 to 100% wonderful people. So the difficulty there isn't as prevalent. But my awareness is, right? My awareness of what are the pitfalls, what are the tragedies, what are the potentials. I need to be aware of that. And I need to be able to protect for that. I need to be able to account for that. There are a bunch of fathers that I know that are in fathers of the baseball kids, of the lacrosse kids, of the football kids, of the softball kids. And you can kind of tell they possess that, right? Some of these fathers, they're nice guys, but you can tell, listen, I'm not here to stand for it. It's going to be a problem if there's a problem with my kid and you. And that's what you need, right? You don't need to be walking around here punking everybody. But the ability to punk everybody has to be prevalent. It has to be inside you, or there's a risk of a downfall of your family, right? And once there's a member of the family that is introduced to tragedy and difficulty, that negativity permeates inside, and it's very difficult to unseat. And that's the reason why at every turn, you're the person that has to check that. At every opportunity for the child to get out of line or the heroes to get out of line, you're the person that has to check that. And at every opportunity for your child to find a hero, a good one, it's your opportunity and your responsibility to foster that, to figure out, is this person worthy? And then foster an environment where your child is able to engage with this person, because they are necessary. They will teach children things that you can't, that you're not aware of. I'm 49, the kid's 12. The hero's 18. He knows the slang. He knows the tendencies. Both of their haircuts are ridiculous, but in their world, they're amazing, right? And so I can't offer my kid what he needs in every arena. I just can't, right? If it's up to me, he's wearing baseball hats and sagging jeans, but that's not what they do now. They do different things, and I'm not going to be up on the trends of these Generation Z kids because I'm not part of that. I'm 2 generations removed from that, and therein lies the humility. Do you understand that you're not as cool as you think you are? You're not. All them dance moves that you perfected in the 90s and the early 2000s, they're not cool. They're retro, they're old school, they're horrible, and some of you people didn't perfect them then, so I don't know why you're trying them now, okay? I just think that there is a level of humility that we all must possess in allowing for our children to interact with the world in a positive way and suck in all of the positive energy that we possibly can from everywhere we can. That's our responsibility. Once we vet these things, understand that there's value there. Anyway, my kid still has a flow, and he loves it coming out of baseball hats and helmets. Looks ridiculous to me, but he's a cool kid. Have a great day.
God, when you're weary and you're weak, and I guess this long road looking bleak, but I bet this left hand and my feet might address this long road to defeat. So my quest is find a hero in the mirror and then arrest his dreams and his ego. He defenseless. Say the party for the guest list. Ain't nobody wanna test this. It's my illusion when my chest is feeling low and deflated and defeated where I hide this.